The music's pretty good,
It's
actually.
really good.
It does sound pretty good. I've already seen the first few seconds of this
All right,
recording.
Joseph, have you ever heard of Theseus' ship?
Hell no. What is that?
Okay,
Oh wow,
so
what a normie.
jeez. So there was this hero called Theseus, right? And he had
Uh-huh.
a ship. End of story.
Okay, so how's that relevant to this though, or is it just not relevant again? Just like playing Raft?
Oh no, it's just like leading up to how I. Oh, how is Journey relevant?
Yeah,
How
or
is
is it
Journey
just
not
like
relevant?
Raft?
Bro, it's literally called
I
Journey.
mean,
I don't know
yeah,
how
I
it's
How
not
could you
I
say
don't know
relevant.
this
why
is
it
not
wouldn't be
relevant?
relevant.
I don't know. You want me to make an
All right
argument
then.
how this is about how this is
How
more
it's
about the
valid.
journey rather
How
than
is
the
this a
destination?
valid game?
Journey is a game about life, like all games, and it's about instead of being about the destination, it's about the journey. Whoa!
Whoa.
Let's say you had a ship, right? It's a good ship.
Yeah.
It's a cool ship. But you know, one
Very
day
cool.
the mast broke, so you gotta like replace it,
Mhm.
and you kept doing this. You know, like every time a piece would break, you'd have to replace it, and you kept doing this until eventually none of the original pieces were remaining. Is this the same ship?
I mean, I would say probably not because the mast is like, you know, it's the main part of carrying the, the sails or the vessels. So it's like it's basically switching up how it's formatted. It can't be the same ship. It's like you guys haven't watched One Piece, right?
I haven't. No one watches that. No one watches.
Okay,
Okay,
I've
okay.
watched like 5 episodes, man.
Okay, spoiler.
Okay, I don't.
Because you're probably not gonna watch this at all.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
Yeah.
fine.
they do end up switching the ship because the mast broke because a ship can't actually function without a mast. So they didn't decide to rebuild it. They decided to go for a new ship. And if they were to switch it, it'd be a completely different ship. Or like, at least that's what I format it to be.
So that's pretty interesting. You're talking about the mast. So if we bring this into terms of humans, so would you say that if someone's heart or lungs were transplanted, would they be the same person?
I mean, it wouldn't
Because
be.
if the sail is replaced, then because it's so important to the ship, well, so is the heart and lungs of a human. So by that logic, a human would be different if they had their heart and lungs replaced.
Also,
That
our
is
cells,
true, but
yeah,
it's like.
and our cells are being replaced all the time.
Hmm. For a person, would you say their minds like what makes up a person or like their organic parts? Because I would
Say-
think the mind. Because
Well, isn't the mind
yeah,
part of their organic parts, or are you talking about consciousness, which is kind of weird? We don't know
yeah,
what it
what?
is.
Hmm.
Wouldn't
So
that be like the captain of the ship then?
right, because the ship doesn't actually have a conscience. Because I think in order for something to actually change, it's like
Hmm.
they're like as a person, their conscience should be able to change, not an inanimate object like a ship.
Hmm. And you
Okay.
said you were bad at philosophy.
Whoops.
Liar. Okay. More importantly, we're getting kind of sidetracked because there was this thing I thought of. Is a ship
Uh-huh.
alive?
For a person who watches One Piece, I have to disagree. Maybe to a person leading the ship,
I
but
know.
to a
Okay, think of it
person
like
like,
this: a ship
mm,
is like a cell, right? The walls of the ship are
right,
like the cell walls, and each of the crew members are organelles doing their own functions, and the captain is like the nucleus.
right.
Is the ship alive?
Nucleus is the power of the cell. Or wait, the
The
mitochondria.
The
mitochondria.
mitochondria.
Dude, the
That's
mitochondria.
more.
Did you
That
learn
doesn't
anything
work
in biology?
You estimation my head,
I
bro.
wasn't listening. I wasn't.
um, no,
Why?
because I don't know this thought of having an inanimate object, or like maybe it's not an object, like a ship, because it's not actually like breathing or like because that's what I think of being alive, like being able to breathe, being able to walk, being able to, you know,
Hmm.
do this stuff.
So I guess
animal or
cells
a human
aren't
can.
alive.
Ah!
Well, if we go biologically, well, obviously it's alive, but I think philosophically it has to be conscious for it to be alive. So cells aren't
Yeah.
alive, but when they come together, they make an animal, they make a brain, then it's alive.
Alright, let me just cut to the
Assuming
chase.
brains are conscious. Assuming brains are
Okay, cut
conscious.
to the chase. What's up?
Life isn't real.
Ooh, okay,
No such
that
thing.
was
That was quick.
Yeah. The idea came up was, if it's that difficult to define life, then maybe life is just something we made up in order to distinguish ourselves from other inanimate objects like a lamp or the sun. But really, there's no such thing as life. Because,
yeah, it's called biology. Yeah, it's called we already
I mean,
made it
think
up.
about
It's
it.
called
Okay,
biology.
if I can argue that a ship is alive, what the fuck is life?
Life is whatever biologists call life. So, yeah, I guess I suppose it isn't real, or like
Yeah.
it's not a thing. Like it's not something you can see, or it's something we have to exist in order to call something alive. So life is a spook.
I mean, but there are cases where like that term could be changed, no? Because like you could think of a theory and you could say, "Oh, that's a living theory," or like it really just depends on what you would determine what alive is.
Yeah. So if it depends on that, then it isn't real. If it's
Because you could just say a Roomba's alive.
Yeah,
you
this
know?
is basically just an exercise in defining.
Because you're alive, like your cells are also alive, but it's like we're talking about like in another state conscious, because that's from your mind, or like I guess you could argue that brain cells are also alive, but it's like
what's true of the whole isn't automatically true of the parts.
right.
Hmm.
But someone also can argue that like your thought process is coming from your your neurons or like
Yeah.
your system, your brain system. So it's like it's really tough to like actually determine.
Yeah, for example, like computer or artificial intelligence, is that alive?
Ooh.
Like we can say it's basically the
I
same
mean,
thing
yeah.
as our
like,
brain.
Like you could really argue
because-
that we're just more complex computers. Like I did like a little bit of research and it looks like some people will define life as like self-sustaining, you know, like humans work to
What's
keep
that
themselves
even
alive.
mean?
Right.
But you know,
What's it-
stars kind of do that too.
Right.
Yeah, and you know the universe is just constantly in motion, always. You know, like planets revolve around the sun. You know, the water cycle happens. Is water alive?
True.
So yeah, because of the looseness of things like being self-sustaining or having like moving parts, like a lot of things can have, like it's not only limited to things that we'd call living that would be able to move. Like we've already made a lot of machines, mechanical devices. So I think we have to go with consciousness, even though that's not even what is it called? Like consciousness is really hard to define, but I think it's something we have to use to define something like life.
Like if we think about biology, there are also the things that are called the properties of life. So, and there's 5 of them. One of
Oh,
them's
yeah.
order.
You actually took
They must
biology.
be like. Yeah, I took AP, bro.
Thanks,
What can
man.
I say?
Thanks for being cool.
So it must be organized or like have coordinated structures. It must be sensitive to or respond to stimuli. So like it'll have basically a brain. Like
Okay.
it must function in this kind of way. It must be able to reproduce. It must be able to grow and develop their genes. So like again, adaptability.
Okay, wait,
And it
Joseph.
must
Joseph.
also-
Okay, slow down.
uh-huh.
Can you start number
Right.
1 again?
Okay, so right. It has to be organized.
Okay, a ship is
Or
organized. It
coordinate.
has a crew and stuff, and they all have
That is
functions.
true.
Okay. Next one.
and then it must be sensitive or respond to stimuli.
If you attack a ship, the ship will attack back.
But that's what the people know.
No, that's just
Okay,
the
let's
cells,
not-
man.
that's
That's
not
just
the actual
that's just the
mindset of the
organelles.
ship.
That's just the organelles, you know.
Let's actually use that for the what about the steering wheel
I mean,
or the
okay,
or
Joseph,
the
if you
sail?
get the cold, like, are you gonna be the one to fight back, or are your white blood cells gonna be the ones to fight back?
My white blood cells, true.
Exactly.
But in the analogy of the ship, a ship can't actually function without people.
And you can't function without your cells.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, oh wait.
You see where I'm going with this? Okay, next one. Next one.
Okay, reproduction. Can a ship reproduce?
Yes.
No, it can't. No, it can't. No, it can't. No, it can't.
I mean, a shipbuilder comes. I mean, well, what's the
Uh,
word? What's the
I don't.
thing
I
you
don't.
get when
I
you
think
when a mule?
A mule.
When a donkey and a horse have a baby?
Right.
Yeah, mules can't
That's
reproduce.
Hybridization. Oh, true.
Yeah. Although maybe that's just an excuse.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually meant 7. That's my bad. It's not 5. So it must be able to grow and develop.
Yeah, okay.
In,
Ship can
in
grow
the
and develop.
case of a ship, yeah, it could
It
grow.
literally starts from a couple pieces of wood and becomes a ship.
Bigger, big.
Big ship.
It must be
Also,
able to
According
regulate.
to Assassin's Creed Black
Ah.
Flag, you can upgrade a ship.
According to Assassin's Creed, yes.
But no, in
It
real
must
life
be
too.
able to. So they must be able to regulate. So it has like a complex or like has to require a regulatory system
Oh, the
to
captain.
coordinate like.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this part? This one's gonna stoop you solo. Homeostasis.
Homeostasis. What does that mean? Oh yeah, frick. Hold on, what does that mean again?
The ability to maintain like a constant condition, like your temperature.
Oh yeah.
You
of course.
you can regulate your own temperature.
If the ship's low on food, the crew will restock. If the ship starts to flood, the crew will take out the water.
And then it should be able to get a source of energy from something.
A source of energy. Well, the crew.
What
is
can we say a ship has
Food.
like
A ship runs on food, just like humans. You know why? The
A
humans
ship
are the
runs on food,
organelles,
okay.
right? The humans are the one that move the ship and make the ship function. And the crew
Oh,
needs food.
and
to
also
function.
right, but if we're also talking about like a modern ship, it could run on,
Oh yeah, actual
Fuel.
fuel, right?
fuel, yeah.
I forgot those existed, man.
Damn, we basically proved that a ship could be a living thing. If we put these ideas into philosophy, it would work, but not into biology. Or biologists wouldn't be able to. prove.
Obviously, biologists would say,
that.
no, what's wrong with you? Are you high?
Yeah, it's like, wait, what?
Okay, what
It's
would
not
they say
frog.
though? What would they say?
They probably argue that it actually wouldn't be able to like in a state like homeostasis. It's in biology it would be being able to sustain proper temperature, proper acidity levels, so like pH, and like a concentration of chemicals. A ship doesn't have any of those. But in a sense of philosophy, if we say, oh, it could self-sustain, then we could use the argument.
Why do we consider
I
a
don't-
tree to be alive? Like, okay, how are trees alive in the same way that animals are alive?
Well, they have a.
Like, what did they have in common?
They don't have they don't have thoughts. They don't have consciousness.
They probably don't have thoughts. They probably.
Probably, but we don't know for sure. Well, that's a bit alarming,
I mean-
don't you think?
It does have a cellular structure, but
Okay, but okay, Joseph, can we assume that plants don't have thoughts?
true.
Okay.
So, based on the assumption that plants don't have thoughts, I don't think plants are alive.
What's going on here is I'm trying to say there's no such thing as life, and Kier here is trying to maybe like redefine life.
I mean, I just like redefining things. For
Is this part of you
example,
justifying why we
existence.
should kill all
It is-
plants? If they're
Yeah,
alive?
it is.
Damn.
I mean, but you can't kill plants if they're not alive, so maybe I should start arguing why they are alive. The
If you are,
reason I'd like to redefine life as something that's conscious is because something a lot of people like to say is that life is really valuable. And life is valuable, but should we value everything that's alive? Like, is there value in bacteria? Is there value in plants? I think there are value in animals, but I don't believe there are value in plants. So, but I also think that life is valuable. So I think that. So because of that, I think that life could be redefined into things that are only conscious, because that's the thing that those are the things that I think that matter. That's what they all have in common. That's what they.
here's the thing. Wouldn't you say there's like some mutual relationship with humans and plants? The only
there are.
only reason we're actually living is because of plants, because they provide us oxygen.
Yeah, there are, but I was just saying there's no intrinsic value in them. Like, you can't. We're not making them exist just because we want them there. We want to eat them. We want the oxygen they produce, but we don't really want the plants. We don't.
Oh, so you're saying because we benefit from them, that's the only reason why they're alive?
Yes.
Essentially, okay.
Well, I mean, some people think plants are beautiful. Some people like how plants look, I guess.
I mean, but what does that argue with the meaning of life?
Oh, purpose of life? To satisfy consciousness.
To satisfy consciousness. Okay, trees
Which is
have already
basically
failed because they don't have a consciousness. Unless
Yeah,
their purpose is to
exactly.
satisfy our consciousness.
What I go with is that everything that's conscious is the goal of conscious beings is to satisfy what's conscious, and the goal of everything else is to satisfy what is conscious. So other
Why do we
things that are
reproduce?
conscious. Because it creates more conscious things.
But does that satisfy consciousness?
It gives
I mean,
it gives
sure-
the potential
sure for
for
the
it.
father.
It gives the potential for it.
And yeah, but let's be real here. Babies cause a lot of pain. Imagine if we just didn't have kids, you know? Just didn't reproduce.
Then there's no people. Then
Yeah. Life isn't real. But also, the universe might have a purpose. Okay, we don't have a purpose because life isn't real, but maybe the universe has a purpose. And
What-
we're
what
part
makes
of
it
that
not
do have a
have a
universe.
purpose?
and our purpose is the universe's purpose.
Right.
Let me explain.
Okay, what makes you say the universe is real? First
Alright,
of all,
what does life do? What does everything in the universe do? Everything that moves, everything that functions.
it follows the laws of physics.
Not just that. It also kind of fights against entropy.
It follows the laws of physics. It follows the laws.
Okay, yeah, it does that too. Okay, it does that too. But
I
also,
mean, yeah, entropy is part of the laws of physics.
yeah, like
Entropy-
the sun burns in order to not die out. Why does it not want to die out? What's up with that?
laws of physics, or rather, because if it did want to die out, then it wouldn't be there.
Okay, like entropy is such a powerful force, but why does the universe function in a way to fight back against it?
It does.
Yeah, maybe part of the reason we exist is to aid in that. We are beings that can duplicate ourselves.
So you're saying our existence is to keep balance? Or
Our
like,
No,
we
it's to
exist
be
keep
against
existing.
balance. It's to be
Yeah,
against
to be
balance.
against balance.
so we're keeping ourselves to create disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just what he's
Well,
saying.
Oh damn, we're
keep
just bad
ourselves-
people.
No, disorder isn't bad, or it's not good either. But like, we can't really say
just is.
morality is a thing. Actually, we can't say once we get to this universal thing, we can't really say morality is the thing. Really.
That's what I ended up with. The purpose of the universe is to fight entropy. I don't know why that matters. Maybe the universe has a consciousness.
I don't
knows?
think the universe just. I don't think the universe wants to fight entropy. I think it just happens to do. It just happens to do so,
It just happens
because
to do so.
because once the Big Bang happened, a lot of stuff happened.
Right?
Alright.
Like the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Like that was just kind of
The
like
reason
the
why
Big Bang
Thanos
was
is
just kind
evil
of like a
is
big
because
entropy thing.
he wanted to help entropy.
Create
Turn everyone to
balance.
dust. He just ate
He also
it.
wanted to create balance in a way. By killing off half the universe.
Yeah, how dare he?
It's kind of funny.
I mean, that is what balance is.
And that is why he died, because no one likes entropy. And like I saw this question someone posted. It was like, is it okay to celebrate someone's death? In a case where that person did something horrific to someone else?
Yes.
Celebrate it?
Actually, I think it's,
I was like,
okay to
immediately
celebrate it
yes.
regardless.
I was immediately yes. Not for any morality reason, just because life isn't real.
No, not for me. It's not for morality, but because celebrating's good.
Oh my god.
Damn, you like partying, bro?
No, I don't. But it's good for more. Some people like it. Some people like it. Some people won't, and they won't.
Yeah, it's like for the people who actually lost something, they would, you know.
Yeah, but if you say life isn't real, then your morality kind of just degrades. Like, you become more amoral, I think.
Life doesn't need to be real for you to have morality.
Yeah. I don't know, should I care about morality?
Yeah.
And why?
I think there's that limit of like
Because
where life is like keeping us at that boundary.
Or rather,
It's
there's
like-
a chance of there being consciousness. You're conscious, so there's probably other people conscious. There might not be, but there's a decent chance. Therefore, be moral, because there are conscious people.
It's not about consciousness, but it's about the universe. As long as I'm alive, I am helping the universe. So I don't really have to worry about morality.
Okay, but why do you want to help the universe so much then?
Maybe that's because that's my function. That's what I'm made to do. Unless the universe has no purpose. In which case we're back to square one. You know, if your philosophy isn't good for society, what should you do with that?
It doesn't have to be good for society.
I mean, yeah.
That's what Hitler thought.
I believe
and
my theory is true, but I feel like it's kind of destructive. Like, if people don't care about life or death, then what do we do? Just die?